Merry Christmas, everyone. It's officially Christmas today. And since we got no plans today, Dad's gonna drag this thing with his, kind of made a pull hitch by the looks of it. So he's gonna pull her to the farm since can't steer it. Oh, yeah, no. Something didn't work. Something didn't. Oh. I guess that angle iron must have had a weak spot in it. Well, since the tractor's not moving anywhere today, and it's Christmas and we don't got any Christmas stuff going on today, I forget who it was, would like an overview of this 2270, and then I also would like to give an overview of the 2270 and a 2150. They're very unique tractors. They're unique for us, but they're also kind of a unique history of white. It's a transition period and all the rest of it. Very cool. So here's a 2270. Missing a few shields because it just had some engine work, or it's gonna have more engine work. This one is a 1974 model. We actually bought it from the original owner back in 2006. Well, Dad did. Dad. And the 2150. But we'll do the 2150 later. Very cool. He gave us a really good rundown on both tractors, but especially this 2270. You'll see this pump is not painted orange, and there's different hoses going around and whatnot. And then this oil cooler been adjusted, and there's a bunch of other stuff. So originally this did not have this pump on it. This is the oil pump, engine oil pump, and it sucks from down there. It had, I believe, an internal pump, but that got updated with the 2150. They put external bigger pump. I guess it, I don't know, had issues or something like that. So there's somewhere here, I think the filters were the same. Well, it's different than 2150, but the filter assembly, I believe, is the same, because I remember him showing there's an outlet on the block here somewhere where it came out up to here. I remember seeing it forever, but anyways. So it is a Minneapolis block. See the three big heads? From the Minneapolis part of white. The rear ends are Oliver, the Oliver side of it. The color is Cockshutt side of it. It has the square Oliver cab. Get in there, all these parts. This one only has 3 hydraulics, and it needs a cab kit. But it's actually a pretty decent cab, nonetheless. Had air conditioning. It's still on there, just not functioning. Yeah, the 3-speed Cockshutt white, well, so Oliver white, whatever. 3-speed. what they call it, hydro shift over under. Yeah, pretty simple in the cab. There was oh yeah, nice horn they got. Sweet old radio. I think it actually still worked. The original owner added Murphy switches to them, which they worked. Yeah, they're kind of handy. We never had issues with them, but the park brake, I think the park brake actually works on this one and the 2150. This one's actually very clean, like aside from needing a cab kit, because the cab kit's like all fall down. It's actually extremely clean. I'll tell you why later. Now for the rest of it. Here's our hydraulic pump filter. Look at that, like clean. This, as far as I know, is all white side or Oliver side. The previous owner added extra fuel tanks, saddle tanks, bareback for you American guys who have 3-point hitch. None of that up here. Your Oliver big hump. And outboard planetaries. That's the, I think that was a factory, actually maybe not. 2150 had a factory auxiliary fuel tank. They just added that, I guess. Battery box, air conditioning pump, and there, that's a good view of the Minneapolis era block. And it does say white. Charles City. No. The D5 585 big block. Charles City, Iowa, white farm equipment. That is a Minneapolis, the Minimo 3-block head or whatever people call it. And then sweet cast grill. I think that's actually more from the Oliver side. Minneapolis had some similar looking things. I think they only made this horsepower range in a white, but I also have seen some Minneapolis that are probably pretty close to this horsepower range. But this was in the transition from Oliver Minneapolis cockshut into just white. So you got Oliver rear end, Minneapolis motor, cockshut paint. But other thing we'll notice, see how it's level front to back for the most part. We'll show you a difference in a 2150 later. But yeah, what else to show on this thing? I put I think it's a gear reduction starter on it, and oh, it turns it over way nicer. 3-speed power shift in there. Yeah, I don't know what else to. I do like for auger work, this is nice, having the second door open. The white side, the gray whites don't do that. Yeah, that's a quick and dirty rundown of the 2270. It's not going in the shop today by the looks of it. Oh, and then the steering on these versus the newer whites, like 2135. It's not rack and pinion. You got cylinders. Where are we here? If I can see that. You got cylinders, 2 cylinders that turn this thin. Oh, not rack and pinion, but yeah, turns that. Works pretty good. Aside from you're going down the road and just suddenly you'll want to take off a little bit, kind of thing. So now let's go look at the. Here we go. Oh, hi Ray Ray. Hi Abby. Merry Christmas. Oh, I forgot to bring you dog treats. Little 4020 needs an engine rebuild. Brigadier, it needs some help. Mainly a tire, some oil leaks. But anyways, what we're all looking for is the Toot 150, 1975, first year production Toot 150. I don't know what the years were, doesn't matter. Like I mentioned, we bought the 2270 and the Toot 150 from the same gentleman. One was his, one was his father-in-law's. They were both bought brand new. The 2270 was 1974, so last model year. And then this Toot 150 was 1975, first model year. So, of course, we got different shields, and I do like the gray. The cab's different. But right on this side, we can see the differences already. There was a bunch of updates, he said, to the Toot 150 as well, but more updates to the 2270. So right away you can see, I think the filters are still the same, but they moved the oil cooler and the filters into the same assembly. So this is the oil cooler and the filters. Instead of, we had filters up here, then the oil cooler down here. Now, there, and there's the oil pump. And you see that pump is different because I believe it was factory, I think. Smell all the diesel leaking. This thing needs a major overhaul. Yeah. Or did this one also have some updates on the hydraulic or on the engine pump? I used to remember, but that was 2006. Oh my, 19 years ago. This coming summer. So yeah, little different here. I think the fuel filter is somewhere else, but the same. Pump's a little, oil pump's a little different. I remember him showing me on the one, there is a capped off place on the block. Yeah, maybe it was over here somewhere. Oh yeah, right up there. There's a cap. So I think this one also had internal oil pump, and then they updated this one, but it was more of a legit update. The other one was more hanky-panky. I think so, because that, remember him saying something about, yeah, that cap right there. So both were updated. Yeah, that, they capped it off, I believe. Now there's probably some white guys, Minneapolis guys, that can prove me wrong or something like that, but that's, I believe that's what he had said. So anyways, you can tell way different design on this side, on mainly just the oil pump. Oil filters, pumps a little different. Batteries are on this side of the tractor instead of the other side. Same hydraulic pump, aside from, see, this one's leaking like a, yeah, sieve. Different dual setup on the Toot 150 versus the 2270. 2270 had big, this is a little dual spacer. 2270 had big dual spacer, whatever. I kind of like this one. Cab, well, of course, cab is much more shook, needs a major overhaul. Little easier to get in. Why is this open? Old radio still. 3 hydraulics on this one. Park brake similar spot, dash is different. Actually, yeah, you can get in quite. Why is this open? Goodness, can we not look after nothing? So yeah, much different cab. Also, the only sucky part is no door here. When you're running auger stuff, it's a little suckier. But then you can also run it from outside. What else? Yeah, so you'll notice the 2270 was much cleaner than what this Toot 150 is. Reason for that, you know, like obviously some of you have commented on, and it's true, you know, maintenance around here, I'm trying really hard. There's a lot of times I fail miserably, but historically maintenance around here, preventative maintenance, all but non-existent. Like, change the oil on an engine, no hydro, like, oh, you know, don't change hydraulic oil, you don't change diff oil, planetary oil, that's just, oh, there, yeah. Most times you're lucky if you do a decent oil engine oil change. So I'm not a fan of that. I'm trying to change it, but so this 2150 is much more dirtier and whatever, not as put together, because instead of trucking these tractors up from southern Alberta, Caroline, Alberta, in 2006, Dad made a hitch that he wanted to find. Today he couldn't find it, to hook these tractors together, and then the truck behind the other one, and then pull it home. So you just drive the tractors home. 24 hours or 25 hours, I believe, to drive at southern Alberta to northern Alberta. Then another interesting thing on the 2270, also notice how the 2150, it leans back. 2270 straight. I don't know where they changed it, the front axle or what, but the white is like Cali lean or whatever, whereas 2270 straight. Then when they went to the 2135, then they kind of went straight again. So whatever they did here, not sure. But the other interesting thing is the 2270 has a different ratio rear end. So 2270 goes faster on the road than a 2150. So when we're driving, you know, ungodly amount of miles, well, we'll put the 2270 on the front, 2150 in the back, truck behind that, because we're going faster. Well, we got a little ways up, and 2270 started missing and smoking and just so something's not right, just knocking and banging. And so okay, switched tractors, switched the 150 onto the front and carried on. And then well, we'll take 20 no, I wasn't in the age of doing stuff back then. I'll take the 2270 apart, see what happened, burnt valve or whatever. That was 2006. I pulled the 2270 out of where it was parked in 2006. I pulled it out of the grass, almost trees, in, was it 2020 or 2019? One of those years. So it sat for like, I think it was like 13, 14 years. So it never got abused and mistreated by us for 14 years. It just sat there in its pristine condition. Aside from the cab, like all the foam in the cab just fell off because it sat forever. So that's why this one has got oil everywhere, leaks everywhere, because it's been used for 14 or 12 or 14 years longer than the 2270. It's embarrassing. Yeah, trying to slowly fix it, but that's a big chip to turn. So anyways, that's why the 2150 and the 2150, yeah, it just ran, no issues, aside from took the PTO out of it twice. It fixed the PTO and then it blew up another 30 hours later. So, and it still has been refixed. But anyways, more of the 2150 air conditioning. The guy put external fuel tanks on this too. 3 hydraulics, toolbox, the big Oliver hump on it. Hitch is the same. All that's the same. 540,000 PTO. Cab is nicer, yes. 2150 had factory auxiliary fuel tank, and I think they actually took a, I don't know what they took one very similar and put it on the 2270 like I showed you. This side, we're missing our block heater. Cows probably ate it off. Yeah. Other than that, they're very much the same tractor. The grill isn't cast iron, it's just your normal gray white. Still very cool. Yeah. Now, like the one person said, how much is Oliver, how much is Minneapolis? Well, 2270, it's probably 60-40. You got Minneapolis block. You got all of our rear end, transmission, cab. Once we get to 150, we're probably, oh, what would that be? 40-40-20 ish, because we're a Minneapolis motor, all of our rear end, and now new and improved white cab, white paneling kind of thing, maybe. So yeah, that's a quick and dirty rundown. 250 still has the cylinders, that the 2 cylinders and this thing, whatever you call it, to do the steering, which is kind of nice. Rack and pinion on the 2 135s and 2 155s, 2 105s. Yeah, the biggest things is the updates they did the first couple years on the oil pumps on these tractors. So this one definitely has the cap the guy was telling me about, where it was an internal oil pump and then they put it external. So the 2270 would have had that too, but this looks a little cleaner and tidier. So also being said, you white dudes, white Minneapolis boys, you can correct all these things too. This is just what I know from the guy who bought this brand new and what he said about the updates that were done and all that stuff. So yeah, once again, Merry Christmas. It is Christmas today. I love white tractors, grew up on them, thought I was missing out because didn't have the Soundguard John Deere's. Be like, oh, it's so hard done by, oh, everyone else got John Deere's and some Magnums, and I was like, we got whites and Cockshits and Olivers. And then I grew up, got to drive the John Deere's. Never actually drove a Magnum, but I got to drive the John Deere's. Well, I was very much not as impressed as I thought I would be. Growing up in whites, then you go drive John Deere's. Ooh, yeah. Most times I'll take the white. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Look at all these projects. This project, restore this old Brigadier with the Detroit gravel truck and the old flex coil card and 4020 and grain trailer at scrap metal. Anyways, actually we'll do a, we don't need to worry about the 2135. Everyone knows what 2135 is. We're comparing 2150, 2270. Have a good Christmas.